chosen one, the upheavals you have recently experienced do not necessarily mean that life is turning against you. Sometimes they are an invitation to pause, look more deeply, and adjust your direction before continuing forward. I know there have been days when everything seemed to become confusing at once. A plan you believed was secure was suddenly delayed. A familiar relationship unexpectedly grew distant, and work that had once proceeded normally encountered unforeseen obstacles. You tried to find one clear explanation, but the more you thought about it, the more exhausted you became. Today, I have not called you here to make you afraid or convince you that you are standing before a mysterious disaster. I simply want you to slow the hurried rhythm of your life, breathe deeply, and understand that not every disruption is a punishment. Some things must be rearranged, because your former way of living is no longer strong enough to support the person you are growing into. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, is mentioned as an image of courage and stability, so that you may remember that when circumstances become uncertain, you do not need to lose your calmness or pursue fears that have not been verified. I have seen you trying to understand why certain people suddenly moved away without giving you a satisfactory explanation. You wondered whether you had done something wrong, become less important, or were no longer worthy of their presence. But my beloved child, not every departure is a judgment upon your worth. Some relationships end because two people begin walking in different directions. Some people are no longer capable of accompanying your growth. Others were familiar only with the version of you who always yielded, remained silent, and placed their needs before your own. When you begin living more honestly, establishing clearer boundaries, and refusing to carry every responsibility, they may feel that you have become unfamiliar. Do not rush into resentment, but neither should you return to your former self, merely to preserve a closeness that exhausted you. Allow time to reveal who truly loves the person you are and who values only what you can do for them. Certain delays have disappointed you, but delay does not always mean that you are being obstructed. Sometimes a plan slows because you need more information, additional skills, or a wiser perspective. Sometimes a door remains closed because what lies behind it is not yet compatible with the responsibilities you currently carry. At other times, the path you chose needs adjustment, not because your dream is wrong, but because the old method is no longer effective. I do not want you to view every obstacle as an invisible attack. Such a perspective can cause you to live on guard, become suspicious of others, and overlook practical causes that need to be addressed. Review your plan, listen to trustworthy advice, and consider your health, time, resources, and the way you organize your life. Mature faith does not deny reality. It helps you face reality with a heart that is not ruled by panic. If your finances are difficult, do not hastily believe that someone possesses a mysterious power capable of sealing your path. Look at what remains within your control: your spending, debts, professional skills, habits of delay, and decisions made during emotionally unstable moments. Perhaps you need a clearer plan, further education, guidance from a qualified person, or patience, while building one step at a time. I do not promise that every difficulty will disappear merely because you hear a message, but I remind you that you are not powerless. You can learn, adjust, seek help, and begin again. Lasting transformation rarely comes through one emotional moment. It is built through small choices, practiced consistently. even when results do not appear immediately. If your mind has recently become confused, do not use that experience to conclude that an outside force is controlling you. Perhaps you have been carrying too many responsibilities, sleeping too little, living under continual stress, or receiving more information than your mind can process. When you do not have time to rest, your thoughts may become disordered, concentration may weaken, and every problem can seem larger than it truly is. I want you to care for yourself through practical actions. Sleep more adequately, reduce screen time, move gently, eat regularly, and create periods of quiet. If anxiety, insomnia, or difficulty concentrating continues and clearly affects your daily life, seek appropriate support. Turning to a qualified professional is not a lack of faith. The humility to receive help is also a form of wisdom. Perhaps your sleep has changed recently and your dreams have become more vivid. I understand why you want to find a greater meaning behind them. But do not allow every dream to become a prophecy that fills you with fear or causes you to make hasty decisions. Your daily experiences, unprocessed emotions, memories, and stress can all appear during sleep. You may write down what you remember and reflect upon the emotions it awakens, but preserve discernment. A dream does not have authority to replace responsibility, reason, or practical evidence. I do not guide you through chaos that takes away your ability to think. What is good will lead you back toward kindness, honesty, peace, and responsible living, rather than causing you to distrust everyone or pursue interpretations that create anxiety. You once believed that if everything were being rearranged, the process should feel gentle and pleasant. But many genuine adjustments will initially feel uncomfortable. When you clean a room that has been neglected for a long time, dust appears before the space becomes clean. When you begin speaking honestly, what has been concealed may create conflict before sincerity is established. When you change a habit, the part of you that is accustomed to the old pattern will resist because it wants everything to remain familiar. This discomfort is not proof that you are being punished. It may indicate that you are learning another way of living. Yet you still need discernment, which discomfort should be endured as part of growth, and which is warning you that an environment is truly unhealthy. Look for specific evidence, seek wise counsel, and do not decide only from temporary emotion. I do not keep a secret scroll that requires you to live in fear that someone may steal your future. Your future is not so fragile that it can be destroyed by another person's words, jealousy, or thoughts. People may hurt you, obstruct a plan, or treat you unfairly, but they do not possess the authority to define your entire path. Their actions may create real consequences, and you may need to respond through boundaries, caution, or appropriate support. But do not give them power greater than the truth. Your life continues to be shaped through the choices you make, the lessons you accept, the healthy people you allow to walk beside you, and your ability to rise after disappointment. When you believe someone has intentionally held you back, be careful not to become consumed by suspicion. Do not assign evil motives without evidence. Some people may genuinely fail to support you, while others simply hold a different opinion, lack understanding, or are confronting their own limitations. Evaluate behavior calmly. If deception, manipulation, or disrespect is present, you have the right to establish boundaries and leave what causes harm. But you do not need to turn everyone into an enemy in order to protect yourself. Discernment is different from suspicion. Discernment looks at the truth, and chooses responsibly. Suspicion causes you to see danger everywhere until you gradually lose the ability to trust. I also want you to understand that sharing a message is not a condition for receiving a reward, and you do not need to distribute any content because you fear missing a blessing. My love is not a transaction in which you perform an action upon a screen and are then guaranteed a good result. If certain words genuinely bring peace, clarity, and motivation to live kindly, you may share them with someone who needs encouragement. But do so out of love, not to receive something in return. A good deed loses part of its beauty when it is done only in exchange for a reward. Give freely, respect the recipient, and do not pressure them to believe or respond in the way you desire. What I want to spread through you is not merely a message, but the way you live. Words of encouragement have value, but your patience with someone who feels weak can touch more deeply. A statement about love may sound beautiful, but your willingness to apologize, forgive, and keep your word demonstrates that love has entered your life. You can share hundreds of words about peace, but if you continually react in anger, others will struggle to see their meaning. Therefore, before rushing to bring something to everyone else, allow it to transform the way you treat yourself and those nearest to you. Genuine change within you will become a stronger testimony than any declaration. Perhaps the past week has truly felt unusual. Your routine was disrupted, conversations did not unfold as planned, and your emotions changed rapidly. I do not deny that exhaustion. But instead of immediately asking, "What mysterious thing is happening?" begin with more immediate questions. What has drained your strength? Are you carrying a responsibility that does not truly belong to you? Is there a conversation that needs to happen? Is there a disappointment you have not allowed yourself to feel? Is a habit affecting your sleep? Are you trying to control something beyond your ability? Honest questions such as these can help you recover your direction without fear. Sometimes rearrangement begins when you admit that you cannot continue living as before. You cannot stay awake late to please everyone and then rise exhausted each morning. You cannot continue saying that you are fine while your heart remains heavy. You cannot preserve a relationship through the sacrifice of only one person. Nor can you wait for perfect circumstances before beginning what matters. Genuine alignment is not an invisible power changing everything in your place. It occurs when your faith, values, words, and actions begin moving in the same direction. You say that you value peace and then learn to protect your time for rest. You say that you value honesty and then dare to speak what needs to be spoken. You say that you want to grow and then accept correction and make changes. I have placed Michael within this story not so that you will imagine a mysterious war occurring around you, but to remind you of the spirit of protecting what is good. Protect your peace from useless arguments. Protect gratitude from the habit of comparison. Protect your time from things that continually scatter your attention. Protect kindness, but do not allow kindness to become a door through which others exploit you. Michael's courage reminds you to stand upright before the truth, but that truth must be spoken with love rather than judgment or anger. A strong person is not someone who is always ready to fight. It is someone who understands which battles are worth entering and what should be released in peace. Forgive those who left without an explanation. You do not need to deny your pain or pretend that their behavior did not affect you. Forgiveness simply means that you do not allow their lack of responsibility to continue governing your emotions and decisions. You may never receive the answer you desired. They may not possess enough maturity to apologize. But your peace does not need to wait for them to change. Preserve the lesson, establish boundaries, and continue forward without carrying the desire for revenge. Forgive yourself for the times when you blamed yourself for every form of chaos. Not everything that happens is your fault, yet do not use that truth to avoid examining the part of your responsibility that can be changed. You may not have caused a problem, but you still possess the right to decide how you will respond. You may not have chosen to be hurt, but you can choose healing rather than continuing to pass that pain on to others. You may not control when a door closes, but you can choose not to remain standing before it forever while ignoring other roads. My beloved child, chaos is not where I want you to remain. It can become a transitional space that helps you recognize what needs to be put in order, but do not build your home within instability. Begin creating a rhythm again through simple actions. Rest at an appropriate time. Complete one task at a time. Speak with someone trustworthy. Seek support when necessary, and make quiet space to examine what truly matters. You do not need to explain everything in one day. Some answers become clear only after you have regained calmness. Step away from the fear that you will miss something if you do not act immediately. I do not guide you through pressure. What is good does not disappear merely because you take time to reflect. Be cautious of any words that make you believe you have only one final opportunity, that you must react immediately to avoid disaster, or that sharing content will guarantee change. Genuine love does not manipulate. It gives you space to understand, choose, and accept responsibility. I do not want you dependent upon emotionally intense messages. I want you to mature until you can recognize what is healthy through the good qualities already being formed within you. My beloved child, you are standing at the threshold of restoration, but that door is not opened by a sentence written in the comment section, nor does it depend upon a ritual through which you must hurriedly prove your faith. It begins to open when you honestly acknowledge what has exhausted you, become willing to release your former way of living, and choose to cooperate with healing through practical actions. I do not require you to display your agreement before a crowd. The word Amen can be a beautiful response when it comes from sincerity, but it becomes meaningful only when followed by forgiveness, integrity, gratitude, and the determination to change. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, stands as a symbol of courage during this season, reminding you to protect the good that is being built within you. Yet remember that no angel will take your place in having the necessary conversation, establishing the boundary that is needed, or walking the path of responsibility you have recognized. Restoration does not always take the form of recovering everything you once lost exactly as it was. Some things, if returned unchanged, would bring you back into the same cycle. I can help you restore trust without returning you to a disrespectful relationship. I can rekindle hope without requiring you to continue pursuing a door that has closed. I can heal your self-respect so that you no longer need approval from those who once disregarded you. Therefore, when you ask for restoration, do not limit the answer to an image of the past. Sometimes what is better is not receiving back what departed, but becoming someone who is no longer defined by its departure. Sometimes restoration means being able to sleep peacefully again. Speak about the past without trembling, Look at someone who hurt you without desiring revenge. And possess enough wisdom not to return to the place where you lost yourself. You have often believed that you were buried beneath delays, disappointments, and the judgments of others. You saw outward silence and assumed that every effort had disappeared. But a seed beneath the earth does not yet resemble a tree, and its quietness does not mean that it has died. In darkness, it absorbs, takes root, and prepares a strength the surface cannot yet see. In the same way, there are seasons when you believe you have made no progress, while you are actually learning not to react as you once did. You are recognizing who is truly suited to walk beside you, understanding your limitations more clearly, and building habits capable of supporting a more mature life. Do not call every quiet season a failure, yet do not use the image of a seed to justify passivity. A seed still needs suitable soil, water, light, and time. Your growth also requires care, discipline, learning, and choices repeated every day. I do not want you living with the belief that a secret group of people is burying your blessings. Other people may hurt you, obstruct an opportunity, speak falsely about you, or behave unfairly. These things carry real consequences, and you have the right to protect yourself through boundaries, truth, and appropriate assistance. But do not give them so much authority that you believe they can determine your entire future. Slander cannot erase the character you have faithfully built. One blocked door is not the only door in the world. One person's refusal to recognize you does not mean that your worth has disappeared. What is planted through honesty, diligence, and love may require time before producing fruit, but you do not need to live in fear that someone else is holding your destiny. Focus on what you can do. Correct what is unhealthy, develop your ability, keep your promises, choose trustworthy partners, and refuse to let bitterness steal the strength you need to build your future. The trembling you feel during change is not always a mystical sign. Often it is a natural response, when you begin leaving a way of living that has become deeply familiar. When someone who always pleased others begins saying no, guilt appears. When someone who kept every emotion inside begins speaking honestly, anxiety may arise. When a person who has lived in chaos for a long time enters stability, peace itself may initially feel unfamiliar. You may call this a transformation, but understand it with awareness. Change often causes old structures to shake before a new foundation becomes stable. You do not need to panic, nor do you need to give every emotion a supernatural meaning. Breathe, observe, rest, and seek support if the instability becomes overwhelming. I do not want you forcing yourself to appear strong in silence. Strength also includes admitting that you need someone experienced to help you through a period of transition. You once hoped that delays would end in a spectacular moment, but many forms of stagnation end when you change one ordinary decision. An application is completed because you stop waiting for inspiration. A conversation progresses because you choose to speak clearly instead of guessing. A financial plan begins to contain hope because you face the numbers, reduce unnecessary spending, and seek ways to increase your income. A relationship becomes clearer because you stop accepting prolonged uncertainty. These are not dramatic transformations, but they are genuine forms of a blocked flow beginning to move again. Some knots are not untied by praying more, but by putting the clarity you have received into action. I hear your prayers, but I also teach you to become someone who plans, seeks counsel, learns skills, and accepts responsibility for what lies within your hands. Do not believe that simply adjusting an invisible frequency will automatically release every phone call, opportunity, or source of money. I do not want you building hope upon an unrealistic promise. Finances may improve through many paths. The way you manage money, the quality of your work, healthy professional relationships, perseverance, economic conditions, and factors beyond your control. You may pray for guidance, but then review your budget, fulfill your obligations, seek trustworthy advice, and avoid offers that promise rapid returns. If an important call has not arrived, verify your contact information, follow up appropriately, and continue preparing other options. Faith does not cause you to sit passively while waiting for everything to fall into your hands. Faith helps you act without allowing fear of the outcome to paralyze you. Perhaps your name is being changed in a deeper sense. You are no longer defined by a former role, past failure, or the way others once described you. Someone once called too sensitive may recognize the ability to feel deep compassion. Someone once called weak may learn that gentleness joined with boundaries is strength. Someone who believed they had value only when serving others may begin to understand that they remain worthy of love even during days when they cannot give. Your public reputation may change slowly, but your inward identity begins to be renewed when you stop repeating words that diminish you. Stop calling yourself by the name of one mistake. Do not say that you always fail, always choose wrongly, or can never change. Such words turn an experience into a sentence. Speak more truthfully. You failed in one matter, but you are learning. You once made an unwise choice, but today you can choose differently. When you change, not everyone will understand immediately. Some people will rejoice because they genuinely desire your peace. Others will feel confused because they were accustomed to the version of you who always yielded. Some may react negatively because your new boundaries change the convenience they once received. But do not conclude that everyone is jealous or secretly opposing you. Suspicion is not discernment. Look at specific behavior. Someone who does not yet understand you but still respects your decision is different from someone who continually manipulates, diminishes, or pressures you. Give sincere people time to adjust, but maintain distance from recurring patterns that cause harm. You do not need to turn anyone into an enemy in order to move forward. You only need to recognize what is permitted to remain close to your peace. Truth is not always revealed through one dramatic exposure. Sometimes it is simply that you stop explaining another person's behavior for them. You recognize that a relationship functions only when you give. You see that a promise has repeatedly gone unfulfilled. You understand that an environment continually makes you anxious even after you have tried to adjust yourself. Such truth may hurt, but it also releases you from trying to turn what is unhealthy into something healthy through one-sided effort. Receive the truth without nurturing hatred. You can acknowledge that someone treated you poorly without devoting the rest of your life to proving them wrong. You can leave without cursing. You can preserve the lesson and release your need to see them regret what they did. I also want you to examine the parts of your life restrained by your own fear. There are opportunities you did not pursue because you believed you were not good enough. There are relationships you did not dare to build because you feared being rejected again. There are plans you kept hidden for too long, not because someone buried them, but because you continued waiting for absolute certainty. Recognizing this is not meant to condemn you. It helps you reclaim your ability to act. If every problem is caused by another person or an outside power, you will feel helpless. But when you recognize that part of the knot lies within your habits, thoughts, and choices, you also recognize that you can begin loosening it. You cannot control every result, but you can submit the application, learn the skill, make the call, speak honestly, establish boundaries, and try again through a more mature approach. Do not view restoration as a reward for having suffered enough. I do not need you to endure additional pain in order to prove that you are worthy, nor do you need to perform a spiritual act to purchase my help. My love is not given through transactions. What I desire is for you to stop using excessive sacrifice as evidence of loyalty. Serve when you are able, but rest when necessary. Give freely, not because you fear that someone will leave. Receive help without shame. Some people are accustomed to seeing you as strong and may not know what you need. Learn to express your needs honestly. Restoration often comes through healthy relationships, timely counsel, necessary rest, and habits adjusted with perseverance. If you want to express agreement with what is good, do so first through your life. Say Amen by forgiving yourself for the days when you were not strong enough. Say Amen by apologizing to someone you hurt. Say Amen by leaving a useless argument, completing a responsibility you delayed, and caring for your body with appreciation. Say Amen by refusing to spread fear, rumors, and promises that manipulate others. A word written online may disappear among thousands of comments, but a transformed life will leave lasting influence within your family, your work, and the people you meet. I am not seeking a rapid response. I desire a deep one. Forgive those who once did not believe in your growth. Perhaps they remember only your old mistakes and have not recognized how you have changed. You do not need to argue in order to force them to update the way they see you. Allow consistency to speak. As you become calmer, more dependable, and less likely to repeat your old reactions, time will reveal what is true. If they still refuse to acknowledge it, you do not need to return and seek affirmation. I know your process, but more importantly, you must know whether you are living with integrity or merely trying to create a new image. Choose truth rather than performance. A restored person does not need to make others feel small in order to prove that they have grown. Forgive yourself for once believing that you had been buried too deeply to begin again. You still possess the ability to learn, love, build, and make new choices. Difficult years may have taken much of your strength, but they do not necessarily take away your future. Do not romanticize pain, yet recognize the good qualities formed within you. Compassion, depth of perception, patience, and sensitivity toward the suffering of others. Use these qualities to create a kinder life rather than remaining permanently within the role of the wounded person. You can tell your story without continuing to live inside its most painful chapter.